members, good day. This is Vishak here and I'll be presenting my thesis topic Green School. So before I present my topic, what it is and what it's all about, I would like to tell you how I arrived at this topic. So when I was looking at real world problems, today's issues, and environmental crisis is one of the major issues which we face every day. And I thought I have to do something about it in my education or initiate something during my education so I can follow it up further. And one of the key things which I found was the holes, the gaps, or the lacking of in today's conventional education system. So keeping that in mind, I was looking at what people who are educated today, or the kids, the young generation who are getting educated today, are they equipped with the right tools? Are they equipped with the right knowledge to deal with these things? And I was looking at some people who are trying to make, take steps in this, in dealing with this environment crisis also. So a few people I could find was Greta, Boyan Slat, and a few people from Green School Bali. But before I get to who among these strikes to me, I would like to tell something about these three people and what their approach is. So Greta comes from a conventional education system, and she's trying to fight the education system by raising her voice against it, and try to create awareness about today's environment uh, problems, the crisis we're facing, by making fiery speeches. Boyan Slat, on the other hand, is a young guy who's trying to bring about changes on his own in a personal level, and he's trying to create certain technology, certain equipment that can help in clearing up oceans, make it free of plastic. And then we come to these group of young kids who are trying to make drastic changes in the field of making places green. And two people who stand out are Isabel and Melati, and they come from Green School Bali. So they once they graduated from that school, they tried to make Bali plastic free by involving so many people in this process that even the Indonesian government could not ignore them, and the governor had to come down and listen to these people and try to make changes. Really try to make changes. Now, I was trying to look into why these people, how these people managed to influence so many people, and how were they so successful. So it all came down to their schooling. So they studied in this wonderful school called Green School Bali, and this school was started by John Hardy, and he started with the vision of changing how the education of tomorrow looks like. And he had an interesting take on education, and he formulated a syllabus which focused all on practical learning, learning from daily life, learning from local people, learning how to deal with problems which people face every day, day-to-day problems. And it focused on solving those problems as school curriculum, as school projects, as school work. And then to go match to this type of education system, he came up with a school, an architectural marvel, as they would call it, because he initiated the construction of the large scale construction in bamboo. So he came across this wonderful sustainable material and he wanted to do something entirely out of it. And then he built this school with the help of Georg Stamm, an architect, a carpenter, not exactly an architect, a carpenter. And he made these wonderful floating structures out of bamboo with the help of this carpenter, using parametric designs and understanding how bamboo works. And by doing this, he gave an architectural model to an education system. So this in turn, created an inspiring model, an inspiring thing for lots of young kids who now want to come to the school to be educated in the system. So that architectural model really helped in establishing this education system. So the key takeaway is you need to have an education system which challenges the present day and provides you with skills, provides you with up-to-date necessity skills, knowledge, and equip you with all of them. And also, you need an architectural model to kind of envision this education and to hold it in one place. And for people to look at something, they need something physical to see, and architecture does that role. And it also has to give a message that it has to give the right message that it's not harming the environment by doing so, and you can do wonders by not harming the environment. So this is the key takeaway from Green School Bali. Now coming back to India, I was trying to look at examples where there are people or entities which are trying to challenge the conventional education system. Two schools which I could find was Truck Lotus in Ladakh and Deccan Development Society Green School in Andhra Pradesh. So in Ladakh, the climate, as we know, is very harsh, and the education system in Kashmir was more lenient to the Muslim indigenous population there. So this school decided to, cater to the students of Ladakh, mostly Tibetan Buddhists, not Tibetan Buddhists, Ladakhi Buddhists who come here, and they wanted to have a system which is which has deep roots in their culture. So they managed to do so by integrating all these local cultures, local construction technologies, local style of architecture into this building, using also keeping in mind the harsh climate. So they used all local materials and employ local people to build an energy efficient building which is totally off grid, and make sure that people here are comfortable in the cold. And the education system helps kids who are not who cannot access education, and also not just kids, people of all sorts come here to about learn about today's problems, how to deal with them, develop skills which in respective fields which they require, personality development and all those things. Deccan Development Society School was one school I found, which is the first school in India to adopt a system, a syllabus which is developed by NCRT India. So NCRT India prescribes a syllabus called Towards a Green School, which is an alternative education systems syllabus, and it kind of has similar curriculum, which is close to Green School Bali. So this is the first school to adopt that curriculum and try to give an architectural model to it. So it has all these farmers and cooperatives, kids who come into uh, this school, and they are taught about local culture, local technologies, how to farm, how to grow their own food, lots of skills which they require for the future, and also a bit of the education which happens in the conventional system. So it's a mix of both. So yeah, this was one school, and NCRT decided to start here. But this school hasn't really inspired many people from all over India to take up the school. So if I were to do something on an NCRT syllabus, I would like to start an architectural model which complements this green school, and also it's kind of inspires a lot of people to come and take up the syllabus here, take up that system of education in my project or my vision. Sadhana Forest was another example I looked at where they had a lot of methods to develop barren lands. So in 2003 they started in Auroville, and by 2014 they could develop around 100 acres of land which was barren, which was unfit to grow any food or any types of forest. So and not just that, they try to educate people also on how to do it. They have people coming in and staying here, and also they incorporate a lot of local technologies, and they revive the forest which existed there. So they are trying to bring back what people's forefathers had seen and they couldn't see. So yeah, keeping all this in mind, I thought, okay, let's make a school with an NCRT prescribed practical alternative education system, and give it an architectural inspiring model which will inspire a lot of people to take up this kind of education system. And also for NCRT, it will be a flagship model, kick-off school. So, but there was something missing, some idea which I needed to add further to strengthen this vision of mine. And with that, I came to think about what site do I put this in? Where does a school like this fit in? So we could, build this school in any pristine environment which has all these greenery, forests, places where people haven't set foot at, and make it really locate it in a really beautiful place. But that doesn't do justice to what this thing stands for, because we are talking about solving real life problems, and we are going and adding to the footprint in a pristine environment. So when I was looking at locations, I looked at a lot of places, and a few places which stood out in mind was Karwar and Yana. And these are again pristine environments located close to the coast, located in the Western Ghats. You can see the highlighted piece here. This is the entire Western Ghats. So what I wouldn't be doing justice by taking up a land in a pristine environment and adding 500, 600 people to it. So with that in mind, I thought of looking at a brownfield or a land where it's all polluted and nothing can happen there. It's deteriorated so much that it needs human intervention. And one place I could instantly find was Kudremukh. Kudremukh was mined for iron ore, magnetite iron ore from 1979 to 1999. Post 1999, it's become a ghost town, and all the people staying there have moved away. Only a few people stay, and the mined hilltops are right now. The hilltops, the peaks were taken off, and now it's all made into a flat land. So the peaks are missing, and on top of it are iron ore remains are present. So once it rains, all these iron ore remains are carried down into the river, and the fresh water source for lots of villages are polluted. Plus, the degraded lands, there are no vegetation growing because the topsoil is gone. So it felt that a human intervention here was necessary, and I'm getting a life problem to solve. So by locating the school here, the school will really stand for this real life problem solving thing which I'm trying to highlight again and again. So this school will be located here, and it will be trying to solve this problem as the first and most important problem, and then it will focus on, giving knowledge to the school kids, the people all around the world, all around India, and on how to deal with real life problems sustainably. So I'm just going to continue with a short video of my side. So please bear with me. Having seen the site, first thing I needed to do was address how to deal with the site before I can start designing on it. So a few key steps, few steps prescribed, few steps which I could find by looking up online, by reading up on it, and by interacting with soil scientists was the first one is the most common method is terrace farming. So you try to make the buildings into make the site into terraces. So you have terraces which slow down the flow of water, and eventually it will prevent soil erosion, landslides, and a lot of issues like that. Then you have the root zone treatment, where I'm on the flat lands. I'm trying to create these root zones where I have certain layers of soil, certain black soil, sand, charcoal, and everything, which is taking up the iron ores and the harmful contents in the water which is flowing, and the water which flows down into the river is pure. And then there is another system called the vetiver system. So this vetiver system has these long rooted grass which grows on hill slopes. It kind of slows down the flowing water, it prevents soil erosion, and at the same time these roots absorb a lot of heavy metals and make them very less harmful. And keeping so these are the things which I'm going to do to deal with the site and the problems on site. And then when it comes to building, I need to choose smartly. I have to choose buildings which are locally available. Since it's on a hilltop, I have to think about transporting these materials, so I can't transport heavy things. So I have to look at all these alternate building materials by using ram dirt, by using bamboo, by building on stilts, by using on-site materials, and by using locally available materials. So bamboo grows in plenty in Western Ghats, and in the abandoned township we have a lot of bamboo supply. So we can build using bamboo, and we can build on steep contours by building it on stilts. So that's an advantage with bamboo. Rammed out wherever we need solid walls, it's all on-site soil, which I'm going to take up and basically ram it, add a little bit of stabilizer, 5% stabilizer, and build nice looking walls like these. So this is kind of the story of my site, the story to my leading up to my design, and further I'll be explaining how I got on with my design. So before I started my design, I tried to get a few ideas on how I'm going to design this project. And since it's a school, I wanted to make it interesting because a lot of kids spend around 12 years of their lives here, and it should be a memorable one. It should incorporate a lot of things, create spaces of interest and break that monotony, make it an interesting place and make it not boring. So when I had this in mind, I thought I'll design a journey which will take them around the site, create points of interest, create interesting spaces which change with throughout the year because of changing climate, changing natural because it's all integrated with the natural environment. Also create a drama when they move around the site, through levels, through close enclosed spaces, the journey on levels. Um, Vision frames where you can see things and where you can not see things. So trying to make that journey interesting. And when it comes to spaces, I thought I'll play with volumes based on the number of people occupying it. So smaller volumes for smaller numbers, larger volumes for larger numbers. Controlling the gaze by increasing the interior volume, the gaze is directed inwards, and decreasing it, the gaze is directed outwards. By bringing in light to certain points, by creating an ascent or raising the building, so it kind of gives that feeling of going to somewhere important or holy, or yeah, something like that. And by creating spaces which kind of exaggerate or create a drama by making it appear like it's floating, by making it appear like it's light, it's in the air, things like that. And also incorporate Indian values of education, where Indian education that started out under a tree or in an open to sky environment. So it taught a lot of things like living in harmony with nature, trying to grow with nature without harming it. So this design will try to incorporate these Indian values to it. So coming to my design, this is the site plan of it. And before I designed the site plan, I divided my site into three zones: the visitor zone, the learning village, and students village. The visitor zone, where where the visitors, the school will be open to visitors, for people who want to learn, who want to do something new, and who want to see what all the school stands for, see what the school stands for. The learning village is where the school buildings are located, and students village is where all the students live after the school, the hostel blocks. So I've arrived at numbers for the school here based on my case study, and then the zoning here you can see a bit in detail. So first and foremost important structure, the heart of the school, where everything happens, or the daily school gathering of all the school kids, and events, all the school events, the annual day functions, the everyday assembly, and everything can happen here. And on the first floor you have a library, and which is to accommodate, which has a lot of books, and local people also can access this library. And then you have the staff and other people on the first floor. I'll get into the detail of the structure further. And you have a basketball school court right next to it. So on accessing this site, the visitors have to trek this entire hill from the lake below and come up here. So another alternate thing I'm trying to suggest is have a cable car option. So you have a cable car station here at number one. So the cable car station, the visitors will take the cable car from down the river to the site. So by doing this, I'm providing an easy access also, and also trying to enhance the tourist portfolio of Kudremukh, which is right now abandoned, and there are jungle lodges, and there is a proposal to make Kudremukh, the abandoned township, into a tourist zone. So by adding this, I will also be enhancing the tourist portfolio of Kudremukh. And then once they arrive at the cable car station, they'll go into the visitors zone number two here, and once they're done, and which has a visitors gallery, an orientation center, an orientation theater, and then you have food stalls to serve the visitors. Then you have number three, where they'll come into the visitors zone through a reception lobby, and they'll come into the heart of the school, and then they'll continue the journey on towards school blocks, which is 6, 7, 8, and 10. 5 here is the art and drama block. 6 here is the kindergarten block. So and then they'll continue on to the journey to another contour here, a higher contour, and on that is 7, which is the lower middle school block, classes 2, 3, and 4. Number 6 is LKG, UKG, and first standard. Number 7 is lower middle school classes 2, 3, and 4. Number 10 here is 5, 6, and 7. And number 8 here is 8, 9, and 10. And 9 is a music studio. 11 here is a science block and a science lab. And 12 here is a dining hall. So dining hall is huge in volume because it has to accommodate all the users on site. And 13 is the kitchen, which is quite close to the dining hall, and the deck here and a basketball court here. So it serves a purpose of catering all these things here. And 14, 15, 16, 17 are hostel blocks. Hostel blocks are designed and placed on contours. Like the hostel blocks are aligned to the contours. So I'm trying to minimize, excavation and destroying the original footprint of the site. So most of the places have tried to minimize excavation and built on stills and built on the shape of the contours. So in order to minimize all the excavation and destroying the site footprint. And these structures are the decks on which you can view the site. You have maximum view of the site and the mountains around. So on these decks, other activities like yoga and students activities can happen here. So there is a pathway running all around the site, and it has ramps. These shaded regions are ramps, so that in case there is an emergency or I have to access it very quickly, I can have electric buggies going all around, and you can reach faster also. So the width is also made sure that you can accommodate a motorway. So coming to my first building, which is the reception block, I tried to design using a bamboo grid shell. So you come on from a ramp, you pass through a pool, and then you get into this building. So in the section here, you can see what the structure looks like. It's made of a bamboo grid shell, which is curved. And then you have a reciprocal tower, which is a concept based on mutual supports, and it's made of bamboo. And then you have a watchtower, which has a hole in the floor, which you can access it through a ladder. So this is what the reciprocal tower looks like in a render. This is the floating reception block, and here you can see the grid shell structure which I'm talking about, and the reciprocal tower in the center. Coming to my next sheet, is the heart of the school. So you access it from the reception block here. Then you come all over, into a passage which has a huge auditorium on the center, on the left side, where you can accommodate all the entire school population, which goes up to 500. You have changing rooms for performances happening here on the stage. You have a backstage here, and then on the right side you have 2 exhibit galleries where all the students work, the sculptures, the models which they make, the work, what the school really stands for, is all displayed here. Then you have a staircase which leads to a courtyard on a higher level. This is a smaller courtyard for smaller gatherings. And you have washrooms on this side, and then coming from this place, you have a staircase coming from the behind. You have a staircase which leads to the first floor, and for disabled access, you go all the way back and take this journey here, which leads to the first floor. And then you have a small store to hold on to things which are needed for the functioning of the school. The first floor, you come either from the staircase here, or you take the ramp. You take a journey like this and come back like this, and you have the entry here. At the center you have the library, and on either side you have 2 galleries to view what's happening in the courtyard, and you have 2 staff rooms here. So the structural outlook looks like this. The whole school structural model is based on bamboo. You have bamboo running in X, Y, and Z direction. You can see it in this picture, and you have the beam layout, which is in X and Y. So the y-axis has these beams called DD bundles. You have strips of bamboo tied together to make beams, and on the x-axis you have, the y-axis you have bamboo poles running. So you can see how x, y, and z-axis meet in this junction, which I've tried to show here. And these are the bamboo joineries I'm going to use. Feel free to pause the video and look at these bamboo joineries in detail. And I've given you my sheet, so these joineries are there. Coming to my next structure, it's the hostel block. So, like I said, I tried to minimize the excavation and contour, so I've located it on 3 levels. This is what it looks like. So each block has 1 and 2 floors. Ground floor has each building or each structure has, on the ground floor you have 3 rooms which accommodate 4 students each, so 12 students. And on the first floor is the same. On the ground floor you have, I've tried to level, or try to create different levels of interaction. So in the room with your roommates, you're interacting and when it comes to the whole block, you're interacting with the whole block in this gathering space in the courtyard in the ground floor. In the first floor you have this balcony, sit out, and surrounding a cutout you have this space. So, and when they come outside, they have these 3 courtyards and 3 levels. So the top level is here and the bottom level is here. So this is a smaller interaction between these 2 blocks and these 2 blocks, and on this you can accommodate the entire block students, and you can have a small event here. I've tried to make 4 blocks of this, so it will be for 4 houses, house system which I'm trying to incorporate here. So this kids grouped into 4 houses, that kind of gives them a collective identity, and also gives it a culture, a new culture to it. So this is what the hostel block looks like. It's at 3 levels. You can see the courtyard here, and then you can see these openings through which they access each block. These are the courtyards which you can see at 3 different levels, and this is how they access it. The level 1 from here, level 2 you take the stairs here, and you have left and right. It's going left and right, and level 3 also. Okay. My next school block, starting with the school blocks, was the kindergarten block, and I wanted to make it fun for the kids, so I decided to add 2 slides inside the block. So they access it. The kids can access the classroom through the slide, or they can come in through the openings. The teacher's platform is at the center, and you have a soft floor surrounding it. So the kids sliding in can fall on the soft floor, and it kind of minimizes the impact they have. And central structure is supported by on bamboo stilts. You can see it here, and you have a small clear story opening. And the walls are made of ramblers, and the roof is made of bamboo. And then the second, third, and fourth standard kids have a higher volume compared to the kids in the kindergarten, and they access the building through staircase coming from behind, and this building is kind of excavated into the contour. So it's at a lower level, so it's excavated and you have this classroom block where you sit on a theater-like seating, and you have the teacher's platform in the center. You can see the structures here. This is the classroom, the second classroom I was talking about. It's excavated from the ground, and the roof is sitting on the ground. And then you have the kindergarten classroom where you have 2 small ramps which is going into the classroom. The doors are also interesting because the adults have to go in sideways and the kids have to go in. So it's a kid-friendly this thing. And you have this is the structural outlook of this thing. Coming to my next set of classroom is the classroom for 4, 5, 6 classes for 4, 5, 6. So each classroom has a courtyard extending out, so the classroom can happen on the interior and the exterior. And they have an auditorium like seating here also. And my high school block is made on bamboo, is located on stilts. It's on a steep slope, so I decided to build it on bamboo stilts. Again, it has an auditorium like a theater like seating. It has a teacher's platform, and these entries are from the sides where you can also see the lake. And then this is the science lab, which is divided into 3 zones: biology, chemistry, and physics. And material workshop is located close to the physics lab. You have a lobby and exhibit area up front, and then you have the next block is the music studio. I've tried to create individual music pods where 2 or 3 people can practice at the same time, and separate instruments they can use in practice. And when they're pooling together, they can come into this music theater. at the center. The openings are all opening outwards so that the noise doesn't disturb each other. And then this is what the music studio looks like. It's on water. It's kind of giving that floating feeling also. And music has this thing, that divine thing, where you practice next to the river, you practice next to a lake, and it's kind of creating that feeling. Then you have this visitor zone, where I tried to create a rainwater vortex at the center of 4 different directional meetings. You have a theater-like seating where the people coming into the visitor zone are oriented about the school. And you have a display area on 1 and 2 here, and then you have a ramp which is for the disabled access. You have food stalls for the visitors dining, and then you have this art and exhibit area where you have these curvilinear walls on which the artifacts are displayed, and you have an organic movement throughout. You can see these dotted lines here. So this is how people will move around. And this is the kitchen block, where I try to give openings only on the clear story level so that the wind doesn't disturb cooking. So this is the vortex, the rainwater vortex I'm talking about, and you can see the displays on left and right, and somebody trying to display their talents. And this is the drama art and studio. You can see the freestanding walls and arts displayed on it, and people can move in an organic way. This is the food stalls, and the area where you have dining. And finally, this is my dining hall, which had to be a huge pan structure to accommodate all these people. And I tried to make it out of bamboo. You can see all these ridge lines, which are trying to place it on a bamboo structure. I have tried to incorporate, create a feeling of a bird's flight, a bird in flight, or a bird's wings. And the two dining decks are floating, or cantilevered out. So that's where the contour begins, and it's kind of on the sloping side. And the dining area here is on a flat side. So half of it is on a contour which is at that contour level, and half of it is excavated on a higher contour. So you can see the structural outlook. This is what it looks like, the bamboo structure. You can see 2 dining decks which are below, which are going down, and it's cantilevered. And you can see the structure here on my rendered view. So this is the structural outlook, what it looks like. Okay, this is pretty much my design. So I try to incorporate, build this using mostly sustainable materials. I'm trying to minimize site damage, create an inspiring thing out of sustainable materials, and create a drama, and ever-changing, and spaces of interest for kids to learn in, for people to see, and for the widespread community to come look at and try to imagine what their world alternatively will look like, and try to be the change, try to initiate a change. Thank you for your time. Please bear with me for 2 more minutes to watch my walkthrough video. Thank you.